All right, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Let's Assess. So today me and AJ are in the garage. We had a great ride yesterday, and we have seen some dangerous things in Colorado, and it's kind of all over the West now, and we're going to get into those here in just a second.
Look, I don't want to talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft.
All right, guys, welcome back. So the topic of this podcast is being safe. There's a lot of danger right now when it comes to avalanche conditions. We were out yesterday, saw a lot of snow breaking, a lot of snow settling. And so we're going to very quickly just go over brief equipment stuff and what you need to do to stay safe. The last thing we want is anyone in our snowmobile community to get caught in an avalanche and risk their lives. So we're going to jump right into it.
Yeah, guys, like Brent said there, we are, going to talk about some avalanche stuff here. We are not certified. We are not instructors. We are not, anywhere to be giving advice, but we're just going to talk about what we have seen, what we use. And yesterday we were out and we experienced some pretty scary stuff. So it is very high danger out there, and just wanted to bring the awareness to everybody that follows us.
Yeah, so on the CAIC app, which is Colorado Avalanche Institute, whatever.
Yep.
They're the forecast thing in Colorado, which every state probably has their own. It's severe right now, and to me it's like, okay, be careful, but we really witnessed a lot of things. You'd be sitting there and the snow would just drop, like me and your dad were talking about 6 inches one of the times.
Yeah.
And I thought my sled was breaking into two, but it was just the snow. He rode up and it just settled, and you're seeing cracks everywhere. Everything you touch, it's cracking. Before we get into equipment, I think AJ yesterday, there's something to be said for him. We went up to this hill that we got way back in, and we worked pretty hard to get there. And he came up to it and he goes, dude, I think that's just too risky to do right now. One, for the rocks, but two, you're worried about avalanches.
Yep.
So that's the first step, is not risk things that aren't worth risking. And right now, it's not worth risking it because of A, there's not enough snow to not hit rocks, to be completely safe of rocks, that is. And two, the best prevention of getting in an avalanche is not putting yourself in the position in the terrain to get in an avalanche, obviously.
Yep. I think that's the best thing, is just inform yourself before you go out, whether that's going and getting, avalanche certified classes, whatever that is, or just being smart while in the backcountry. And that's, that was the biggest thing yesterday that we did was, for one, we were riding very safe zones. And by safe, I mean they were flattish meadows, low bottoms, nothing majorly, no super steep degree angles or anything like that. And there was only one place that we had to climb up that was kind of like a steeper little angle. And we had already witnessed so much stuff, the snow settling. And, you'd go do a reentry on a really small, and when I say a small hill, I wouldn't even classify it as a hill out here where we live, but you would just pop off a little pillow or something, and it would crack and kind of slab itself off, or where you would land would kind of slab and collapse off. So we recognized what the dangers were immediately. And then when it came to that, oh, this is normally a hill that we would ride on and not even think twice about it. It was not even a question to go ride it. We pulled up, we looked at it and went, today's just not the day. We wanted to make a YouTube video. That was the whole goal, was to set out to make a YouTube video yesterday. And we couldn't do that because it just wasn't safe to get the content where we needed to.
And I think even before you leave the trailer or the truck, look on your state's avalanche forecast, and that'll give you a pretty good idea. Obviously, it still can slide, even if it says it's not a high risk, but that's a good place to start. And it also puts it in the back of your head that if it's severe, you need to be looking out for these things. Because I was looking on CAIC's website a couple months ago, and last year, every snowmobiler who got caught in, it was classified as an avalanche, ended up dying.
Yeah.
Which is not always the case with skiers and stuff like that. It wasn't the case, but for snowmobilers, it was 100%. If they got caught in what was classified as an avalanche, if it was reported to CAIC, it reported a fatality, which really sucks. So I'm going to jump in like AJ said, we're not instructors. Go get a like an Avalanche certified 1 class.
Get a level 1 at least.
Yeah. And I'm just going to take you through. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. So this is the stuff that you need to carry, and obviously take the next step. You need to learn how to use this stuff. But I think it's a good spot to even just kind of get yourself familiar with the equipment. So the first thing I'll grab, this is a probe. So this locks together, and then you use this after you use your beacon to try to locate someone under the snow.
And guys, when you get this stuff, practice with it. Don't just get it and don't expect to know how to use it. Like that probe, it's made to where you just throw it out and then you pull on that string and it gets it all put together really fast. So be aware. Yeah, yep. There's the string there. Be aware how to use it and how to use it properly. And that's a huge part about, I mean, it's great if you have the stuff, but know how to use it. So practice with it, know where it's at in your backpack, and even have yourself a piece of like a zip tie or a flagging on the zipper where all your Avalanche stuff is at in the compartment. A lot of them come with like red zippers or something like that, so you know, but know where it's at so you can get to it really fast.
Yep. This is a transceiver. So this, like yesterday we were in the trailer, we linked we made sure that my transceiver was recognizing AJ's and his dad's and my brother's. That's super important. You need to make sure you have it on. This is when you get buried, one of your buddies can get a signal and start to look for you before they use the probe. Make sure the batteries are good in it and make sure you have one. This is the BerryVox S by Mammut. I really like this one. It seems very user-friendly, and it's somewhat compact, so it's very simple. I like this one a lot. And then something that people don't talk about all the time is, this is my Avalanche bag, a radio. A radio is huge. Make sure that everyone, we do this before every ride, and I'm glad we do. We do it throughout the day.
Yep.
Check and make sure everyone in your group can hear what you're saying. So they're all linked together. You're all on the same channel, and yours is on. Make sure to charge it before you go out. Rookie mistake if you don't. So that's the first thing. So if you're getting an Avalanche, first thing, obviously it's hectic. Try to radio, say Avalanche, Avalanche.
Yep.
And then your buddies know you're having a problem.
Communication. You got to have communication through it.
And don't go up on these high-risk slopes with your buddies over in a different meadow. Make sure you all go together. And then shovel. So this one carries it in the front for those of you that are watching on YouTube. This is the Mammut alligator like carbon shovel. It's really light. I really like it. We're getting a phone call there. And then this is an actual Avalanche bag. So this has a little, and they all have some sort of handle. There's a bunch of bags on the market. I like Highmark stuff. So you pull this handle and it inflates a bag that the science of it is if you took like a bag of chips and you crushed the bottom of it and then you flipped it over and you shook it, the bigger chips would rise to the top when it's shaken. So this point, I don't know if that's a great analogy, but this keeps you on top of the snow better than if this wasn't inflated. And it also protects you, protects your head and everything like that. What am I missing?
I just think
like GPS messengers. That's another one. We both carry one of those.
Yep.
So if you dig your buddy out and he's not responsive or something's really wrong or he has a broken arm or whatever, you can contact SOS. I use a Garmin InReach and
I use a Zoleo. Yeah. Another big thing on that, guys, is I see a lot of people, they have an airbag backpack, but they have their pull cord put away. They're like, oh, I don't want it to get pulled on a tree. And it's like, well, it doesn't do you a lot of good. You never know when an avalanche is going to happen. It's not like you get into your riding zone and you're like, I better pull that out. I've never, I've seen people do that. So make sure it's out when you leave and, be ready to be ready at any point. You never know when it's going to happen. So.
Yeah. And make sure if you guys are running a bag that has a tank, like this one has a tank, make sure it's filled and connected and you have one in there.
Yep.
If you're running an electric rechargeable Avi bag, make sure that it's charged, obviously, or else that's not going to do you any good. But these are tips. Obviously, prevention is better than trying to survive once you've gotten an avalanche. But if it happens, these are kind of the tools to give you a fighting chance to survive. The other thing is you guys would probably not realize how small of hills and how even slopes slide. Like I just saw it last night. There was a snowboarder who got trapped in an avalanche, and it was not a steep hill. It was not a big hill. There was trees on the hill, and he got completely buried. Luckily, they got him out, but
Wow.
you got to be careful. It can happen, like he's saying, at any time. So be ready, and just be careful, and have your buddies with you. Never go alone, and have them have eyes on you, especially when you're trying to put a line in a hill or something.
Yep, definitely. I think that's a big part. Have that communication and ride with each other and stay with each other. So kind of to simplify that, educate yourself, whether that's through a class, through online stuff, before you go out and ride, or anything that you do, check the forecast. Just educate yourself before you go. And then next thing would be just be alert and be aware of your surroundings. Know, if you're in a trap spot, or, if you're riding through in the very bottom below a big open hill, be aware of your location and watch for signs. Don't be just so focused on your riding and stuff like that. Be aware of your situation and what's going on. And then secondly, that kind of piggybacks onto that is don't put yourself in high risk spots. When we know the avalanche danger is super high, don't go into those spots where it is a slide area. It is just not worth it. So
yeah. And it's really risky right now, especially I think all over the West, because it's dumping now, thank God.
Yeah.
But even on it's called Berthoud Pass in Colorado, a bunch of cars were driving on the road and an avalanche happened and buried all the cars. So it can happen at any time. You just need to be prepared and be as safe as you can and limit your risk. That's what I like to call it, is just limiting risk the best you can. But
still have fun.
Yeah, still have fun. But the buddy thing, dude, think about how many radio calls we had yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hundreds
probably. At a time. Yeah, yeah.
And we're somewhat experienced riders, and we're still communicating all the time because we don't want to have something bad happen. Another thing is, you go off in a meadow on a hillside and you pull a re-entry and the sled lands on you.
Yep.
And your buddy has no clue where you're at. So always be communicating. Don't leave the group unless they know where you are. And I think that's all I have to say about that. Just don't risk your life too much.
Be safe out there, guys. It's scary right now. I mean, we saw so much stuff yesterday. It's signs of, it's going to be bad for a while, and keep getting pounded. I mean, we got 40 inches in 2 days. So just be on high alert and live to ride another day.
Yep. All right, guys. That brings us to the end of this news and safety briefing.
Yes. Follow, subscribe, stay in touch with us, message us, everything. We appreciate all the support, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Later, guys. Be safe.